Pine Bluff police are searching for two suspects linked to the city's 18th homicide of the year.
The shootout left an innocent business owner dead and his friend injured Monday night at Wisebuck Pawn Shop. THV11's Jordan Howington with the latest on this investigation tonight.
Friends and family shocked, left with many questions, many of them coming here to the pawn shop today to leave behind flowers, which is now a memorial site.
Knowing that that's what took my friend's life, it hurts.
Chad Daniel, a friend of both victims, stares at the shattered glass where two gunmen opened fire Monday night, ultimately killing the business owner, Brandon McHan, and injuring his friend in an exchange of gunfire.
It's absolutely senseless and ridiculous.
Detectives canvassing the area today for leads as these two suspects are still on the run.
I've been in law enforcement for a little over 21 years now, and this will be the first time that I have seen suspects do what these two suspects did.
Pine Bluff police say the two suspects arrived after closing and found the door locked, so they left. Now, minutes later, they returned to the store after victims go outside to warm up vehicles. They come back and find the door unlocked. One suspect stands in the doorway, opens fire, then an exchange of gunfire erupts. The suspects leave for a second time.
The gentleman that was wounded went to the aid of the business owner, to Mr. McMahon, and laid by his side, trying to render aid to him.
The suspects come back for a third time with two guns.
And Mr. McMahon was still able to retrieve a shotgun and get off one shot as well before the suspects fled for the final time on foot.
Friends and family have visited the site today, placing flowers at the doorway where the memorial continues to grow, with a mix of emotions, saying an innocent man's life was taken far too soon. Police adding they've never had trouble out of the victims.
Opening his own pawn shop was a dream of his for a really, really long time.
That dream cut short for a man the community says would have given the shirt off his back. Now police beg the community to come forward.
If there was ever something that was going to tug at your heartstring and say, this is the time I need to come forward, this is the time you need to come forward.
Well, nearly 3 weeks after a Pine Bluff pawn shop owner was gunned down and killed, still no arrests have been made, leaving family and friends fighting for justice during the holidays.
And THV11's Jordan Howington spoke with Brandon McHan's twin brother, who called the last few weeks of life brutal.
You're born with somebody and you watch their whole life and then you watch it get taken away for nothing.
Nearly 3 weeks after Jeff McHan's twin brother Brandon and friend were gunned down in Pine Bluff's Wisebuck Pawn Shop, still no arrests.
To bury him is it just ain't right. Having to look, it's like looking at my own self in a casket. It just ain't right.
Jeff's learning more about the story behind these bullet holes, one of the shots that ultimately killed his brother. Fortunately, Brandon's friend survived, now out of the hospital, recovering. He was able to tell Jeff what happened, saying the two men fought to help each other in the moments of uncertainty. Jeff learned his twin was alive and alert after the shooting, and the two men exchanged the words, "I love you," before parting ways.
It was the 18th this year. There's 17 others that died just like my brother.
Jeff visited his brother's gravesite for the first time since he was buried 2 weeks ago, praying over his brother.
They're hiding is what they're doing.
That the two people responsible
They'll eventually have to come out of that hole.
will come forward.
You'll never understand the kind of pain that we had to go to. You wouldn't understand having to pick out clothes for your brother's funeral.
Two 21-year-old men were arrested early this morning for the murder of a Pine Bluff pawn shop owner. THV11's Erica Ferrando was at this morning's news conference with an emotional response from the victim's brother.
I know we've got the right guys, and that makes me and my family so happy. It'll allow us to sleep at night, and it'll allow us for justice for Brandon. We got it. We got justice for Brandon. We got it.
Twin brother to Brandon McHan, Jeff McHan, is feeling relief for the first time since his brother was killed. Thankful on this day that the men police say are responsible are now in jail.
My heart's been really, really bad shape for the past 3 weeks. And just having that, I just looked up and said, we got him, Bubba. They got him.
Pine Bluff police believe McHan was shot and killed during an attempted robbery at his pawn shop earlier this month. But now the families have justice. Both 21 years old from Camden, Daryl Strickland, and Rodney Henry were arrested around 2 a.m. Tuesday.
I'm glad it wasn't Pine Bluff people. That's not our people.
Police found evidence at a home in Pine Bluff that led to the identities of these men. They were arrested at different homes in Camden.
They constantly have worked on this investigation day in and night out, literally.
Both have a criminal history. Records show Strickland was arrested for rape last year. That case is still pending and he's been out on bail. Henry was arrested for a car theft in September. That case is still open.
He loved this town and knowing that everybody came together for him, it made him proud.
3 weeks later, there is still a memorial with flowers and gifts here at the pawn shop. And as far as the business goes, the family says they plan to close down this location but reopen the pawn shop somewhere else to keep Brandon's dream alive.
My brother put everything he had in that pawn shop, and we do not want to let that dream die.
Jeff hopes his brother will be remembered for his big heart.
He was a good one. We lost a really good man whenever they took him from us.
The wife of murdered pawn shop owner Brandon McHan spoke with THV11 only after the murder suspects appear in public.
They had their first court dates this morning in Jefferson County. THV11's Erica Ferrando was in the courtroom today.
Daryl Strickland and Rodney Henry, both 21 years old from Camden, are being held without bond in the Jefferson County Jail. Today, Brandon McHan's family saw them face to face for their first court appearance.
It was very hard to see them in that room, but it was more mad than sad. But in a way, just to see the small two human beings that took my husband's life is just ridiculous. It's a life for nothing.
Sitting in the front row of the courtroom, Miranda McHan watched as the two men police arrested for killing her husband faced the judge where no bond was set.
That's exactly what we wanted, and I praise God every day. Thank you. And Brandon, we're praying for you every day, baby, and we love you. Love you.
Brandon McHan was shot and killed November 12th while working in the Pine Bluff pawn shop he owned. After allegedly killing McHan, Daryl Strickland and Rodney Henry are accused of robbing a Pine Bluff gas station an hour later.
I would just like to thank everybody possible to bring this case closed. This happened really fast.
Strickland admitted involvement in the murder. He told detectives their intention was to rob each location for cash. Henry denied involvement to detectives.
We're going to get them put behind bars, and other than that, we need to pull together as a community because things have not been working and something has to change.
Police identified the men after finding shell casings at a home in Pine Bluff. It was not released whose home it was, but police said that they have an acquaintance who lives there. The casings matched those left at the scene.
People really need to go back and think and kiss your loved ones every night because they might not be there the next day.
As Strickland and Henry sit in the Jefferson County Jail, the Public Defender's Office is working to appoint 2 death penalty qualified attorneys to represent them.
The 2 men accused of killing a Pine Bluff pawn shop owner pleaded not guilty today during a hearing at the Jefferson County District Court.
Daryl Strickland and Rodney Henry are charged with the November murder of Brandon McHan. The 2 are also accused of robbing a Pine Bluff gas station that same night. Police say Strickland admitted his role in the murder and told detectives their intention was to rob the pawn shop and the gas station. But Henry denied involvement to detectives.
The 2 men accused of killing a Pine Bluff pawn shop owner last November will also face federal charges. Daryl Strickland and Rodney Henry allegedly shot and killed Brandon McHan during a holdup at McHan's Wise Buck pawn shop. Police say the 2 also robbed a gas station later that day. A federal grand jury handed up an indictment yesterday, and both are already facing state charges of capital murder. The maximum punishment for a federal conviction would be life in prison.
The 2 men who killed a Pine Bluff pawn shop owner will spend the rest of their lives in a federal prison. It's a story we've been following for almost 5 years. Brandon McHan died during a robbery at Wise Buck Pawn Shop in November of 2018. Daryl Strickland and Rodney Henry eventually pleaded guilty to charges connected with his death. And today, a U.S. district judge sentenced both men to life in prison without parole.